Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel, Jurassic Collector here, and today I have a different video than what I normally would. It is of course related to toys, Jurassic toys, as you can see everything in the background, but today I'm going to be teaching you my Jurassic toy photography tips. That's what I do on Instagram. If you don't follow me already on Instagram, make sure to do it. There is a link down below. It is Jurassic_Collector_official. But on Instagram, if you are a follower of mine or you've seen my Instagram page, I post basically most of my stuff is like 90% toy photography. It's harder than it sounds because you're trying to capture something, a scene, with plastic figures that obviously have no emotion, so you have to give them life essentially, in a sense. You have to basically give whatever you're trying to do, like trying to capture like a scene, you have to give it life, and you have to create it. You, the photographer, have to do it. So we're going to go out and take a look at me taking some pictures later on, and I'm going to show you when we're literally outside getting pictures. It is really nice weather out here today, which is unusual. Toy photography, there's so many different things that go into it. So I'm going to give you like tips and tricks on how to kind of master it. I've been doing it for like over a year. So over the past year, I have definitely accumulated some knowledge. Like 95% of the knowledge is my own, because I just learned from being out there taking pictures what looks good and what doesn't look good, camera settings, cameras. We're going to go into all of that in this video. So let's get into the actual tips and tricks for photography. So my first tip would be my first piece of advice. The first thing you need to do if you want to go and get some toy photography is just basically create the scene in your head. So you need to know what you're trying to achieve, basically. And the best way to do that is to go to your collection, like I am right now. I'm at my collection, and obviously the collection that is over there, but the main piece of my collection, it's all here. So first thing, you need to go to your collection. So whether you have 2 figures or 200 figures, it's the same principle applies. You need to just go to your collection and see what exactly you have, and just look and see what you want to try and achieve with what figures. So you're going to obviously need different figures for different scenes. So if you, like today, as I said, I went out and got this scene. I had this scene in my head. I wanted Sarcosuchus and I wanted another dinosaur. So I came up here, I looked and saw what figure would look cool with Sarcosuchus kind of having like a little battle in the rain with kind of some sun, like a spring shower. But you just need to get the figure you want to photograph. So that's the main thing, first of all, really. In your head, you need to create the scene. That's literally what you have to do. You have to figure out what you want to do with it. So that's why I come to my collection. I look at all the figures I have, and in my head, I try and, I kind of pick a figure, and I just think in my head, what could I do with this? Do I need another dinosaur with it? Do I just leave it on its own? Will I get some human figures? What will I do with that is going to make this a cool toy picture that people are going to like? So that's just the main thing. You need to go to your collection and pick out what figures you want. And the next thing is to create what you want with that figure. So if I pick Concavenator and I pick a human figure, I need to figure out what is the scene I'm trying to create here. Obviously you can create scenes from the Jurassic movies and recreate them, or you can create entirely your own scenes, and that's what I do a lot of the time. You don't have to imitate scenes from the movies. You can be creative and make your own. That's just what I do, as I said, like 90% of the time. So you need to figure out, okay, what is the setting? Where am I going to take this picture? Is it going to be outside? Is it going to be inside? Outside and inside toy photography, they're very different things, completely different, because inside it's dimly lit, unless you're studio lights. It's just obviously not a realistic environment for dinosaurs, right? So if you want to get like realistic toy pictures of like dinosaurs in like nature and stuff, you're gonna have to go outside. I know some people might have a garden, or there might be different reasons, so you just have to work around what you have. I'm lucky that my garden is, pretty expansive in different like areas. So I have grass, I have like pebbles, I have like foliage kind of things. So you just need to work around it, and you need to go somewhere. If you really want to get that scene, you have a scene in your head and it has some like really good leaves and some grass and some like a forest background maybe or something, then you're gonna have to go to a forest if you don't have one in your garden. I know I'd have forest, but just if that's the scene you want, you're gonna have to go somewhere that you want to get that scene if you can't have it, you know, easy access to it around you. So just need to get the basis of where your picture is going to take place. So now you have your figure, you have the scene you kind of want in your head, just, you know, use these as an example. You just need to just figure it out. So I want to take a picture with the Cryolophosaurus for this video. I'm going to be showing you guys how to, you know, do this all. So I'm going to be getting Cryolophosaurus. I kind of want to take this figure today, and I want to take it out for a picture. And I kind of want to have it chasing a dinosaur, so I'm thinking between Calovosaurus and Ornithilastosaurus, or I don't know how to pronounce this, but I need to figure out, I want Cryolophosaurus, which dinosaur do I want it to chase. Obviously it's completely up to you. You can have both, you can have whichever one you want. I think these colours look really cool together, and I think they would pop out, especially in the sun. You can use these figures if you have them, if you want to work along with me, or completely create your own and be creative. So step one, as I said, go to your collection, go to where your figures are, and pick out what figures you actually want to put in the scene, and what do you want the scene to be. And step two is figure out what is the scenario. So what is the background going to be like? You know, are you going to have depth of field? Stuff like that. That's depth of field I haven't talked about yet, but it's just, you need to figure out where is the scene going to be set. That's the main part. That just tells the scene, the background, wherever the picture's taken, is the centerpiece around, you know, it's the world around the figures. So that is very important. That's why I'm really stressing out that it's important that you have what you want the picture to look like in your head, because you need to imagine what it looks like in your head. Because as a photographer or toy photographer, that is your job, to tell the story of whatever you're taking the picture of through the camera, really. So you're gonna have different camera angles, stuff like that. I've learned as well over the past like year and a half that I've been doing toy photography that camera angles with like figures, like dinosaur figures, I've learned that I used to kind of just do the camera like at any angle, like even up here, but now I really don't. Now I'm filming this with my actual camera, so I'm just going to use my phone for an example. I don't take pictures with my phone. I used to at the start, so I will talk about what equipment you'll need later on, but I used to take my pictures like up at like an angle, any angle really, but now I primarily, like 99.9% of the time, my camera just be like down here taking pictures of whatever I'm taking pictures of. It's always on the ground or quite low to the ground, because for dinosaurs it creates a perspective, and perspective is very important when you're doing toy photography with dinosaurs. This applies to anything really. Perspective in photography really is just a very important thing. So it is important that perspective is right. So I always kind of go underground with my camera. I'm always very close to the ground to create a perspective that the dinosaur is big. For me, over the past year and a half, I have learned how I like my pictures to be taken, and that perspective is something that's really important for me, and to have the dinosaurs looking bigger, and you know, because they are obviously plastic figures, so it is important that they look menacing and look scary and they tell the story well. So that perspective is very, very important, and I will be showing you guys perspective later on, and how a perspective can change a shot completely from up here to being on the ground. I'm gonna show you that later, because again, perspective is so important. So now we have the scene in our head, we have the figures that we actually want to use in the scene, we have the idea of what we want the scene to be like, what story we want it to tell, and we have the environment that we kind of have in our head that we kind of would like to work with. So the next step really is to just go outside and just get the picture. But first I'm just going to quickly just talk about equipment. So equipment, I used to, when I started out toy photography a year and a half ago now, first thing I just used was my phone. Now this is a new phone I got the other day, but I had a Huawei P20 Lite, and I used that camera and it worked for me. You don't need fancy equipment, you don't need fancy cameras, anything like that to go out and just start toy photography. Yes, it might look better with an expensive camera than a phone, but it's if you're really passionate about it and you want to do it, you'll make it look good and you'll make it work for you. That's literally what I done. And then I found a camera, and a camera I got years before, that had a really cool like zoom, just zoomed out, and I used that cheap camera. It was like 100 and something euros, so it was a very affordable camera. The quality of the images were okay, the video on it was horrendous, but I did use it for pictures for my toy photography, and I used that up until November of 2019. All year last year basically I used that camera for all of my photography, and it worked really well because you could zoom in really far. It created an incredible depth of field. I like my pictures to actually have like a really blurry background, or decently blurry background. That's just how I like it, but you might like yours different. For me, I like a blurry background. I think it makes it look really cool with a really good perspective, and you can create some incredible shots. And I learned that tip from Victoria's Cantina. I don't know where she talked about the tip. I think it was maybe on Twitter or something, and I learned that tip from her, that if you zoom into something and it just creates a really cool depth of field, and I've been using that for over a year now, that technique, and I'm going to be showing you that today, as I said, with this video, and I'm going to be showing you how to get a blurry background. On a phone camera it is harder to get a like blurry depth of field just because you can't zoom in really. On phone cameras it just has like actual like just digital zoom, whereas on cameras it has an optical zoom. Well, I just have a standard kit lens. I think this is 15 to 45mm kit lens on this camera, but you can get a zoom lens. I use the Canon EOS M50 if you're wondering, and it creates some really incredible pictures. I'm used to it now using a proper actual mirrorless camera with like a bunch of features and stuff. But you can like get like a mode called like live focus on this. If your phone has live focus mode, you can kind of make it the background blurry with a live focus mode, and I think live focus mode will deliver better. It's better than nothing, right? So live focus mode on your camera if you want a blurry kind of depth of field appearance. I'll put up pictures now for you to be able to see what I mean by a really cool blurry background effect. So you need to choose your equipment. So as I said, you don't need anything fancy. You can use your phone if you wish. So you as the photographer, you make the rules for your pictures. You make the pictures them yourself. So they don't have to look a certain way, right? Because it's your creation, it's your idea. You just have to work around how you're gonna actually get the picture. And that's up to you. So let's go out. I want to just go outside and show you hands-on what I mean by all this. My best advice is if you do have access to a decent camera, a DSLR or mirrorless, or even like compact cameras, sometimes they're okay too if that's what you want to use. Let's just quickly recap. You just go to your collection, pick what you want. Second thing is to get the idea of the scene in your head, and you also need to pick out where the environment is, because that's essential for your picture. And then the third thing is, just realistically go out and get it. Let's go outside and let's go straight into actually taking a picture, and I'm going to walk you through how I set it up and everything like that. So let's go. Okay, so this is the area that I have in my mind for the picture. Now obviously on camera it's probably looking, and in person it doesn't look that like aesthetically pleasing, but with the right perspective and angles that I was talking to you guys about earlier, you can really make a shot really cool even when an area just like this. So I'm going to get my phone set up. I'm going to film on my phone. I have to, because I'm going to be taking the pictures on my camera that I'm filming on right now. So my phone is just up on a tripod just to film me getting the shot, so I can actually talk to you guys on it. And then I'm going to be down there, and I'm going to set it up my camera, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to set up perspectives, and I'm just going to figure out what I want to do. But this is the area that I want. So as I was on about with this step, and that was step 2, was to pick your where you wanted to actually take the pictures, and this was where I wanted to take mine. As I said, it doesn't look like much now, but with the right perspective and stuff, I feel like we can actually make it work, and I think it can look cool. So the audio and the video quality is going to drop, I presume, when I go to film on my phone, so I apologize for that. So let's just get to it. Okay, so it is important that you figure out what you have the scene in your head that I told you guys about earlier, and now you want to get the shot. So what are we going to do? First step is my camera. I have it set up in a tripod, so something you're going to need is probably a tripod. If you own a camera like this, like a mirrorless camera or DSLR, you're gonna kind of need a tripod to keep the camera steady. Now sometimes I do freehand shots. Even if you're using the phone, I would recommend getting one of those adapters even and putting it on a tripod. It's easier to just take the pictures because they're steady. The camera is steady and it's a lot easier for you. So we're going to figure out what I'm gonna do with this. So I'm gonna set up the figure over there maybe and see what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I have my figure set up the way I want them. I think in my head that's how I kind of want it, but we're gonna bring my camera in now and actually see what it looks like. So this is gonna be one of those scenes where I'm actually probably gonna take my camera off the tripod just because I need to get really close to the ground. I was talking about earlier, you guys, perspective is everything, as I mentioned. So I'm gonna show you what perspective I'm kind of gonna be using to get this to look the way I want it to. So here's my camera. I used the Canon EOS M50. It's a mirrorless camera, but it is really good. And I'm just gonna kind of figure out what way I want this. So I'm gonna get very close to the ground. As I said, perspective is everything, you guys. And I'm gonna zoom my lens all the way in, because as I was talking about earlier, I like my pictures to just have a blurred background. To get as far away from your subject as possible and zoom in as much as possible, if you're using optical, because optical doesn't reduce the quality or anything when you zoom in, whereas a digital zoom, the quality does kind of deteriorate the more you zoom in. Okay, it is kind of working out how I wanted it. In my head, I just need to angle the Krylov more towards the wall to get more of its body in shot. So you have them set up over there. You need to get your camera or your phone and just get it from the perspective you had in your head that I was talking about earlier, and see how it looks. And if it looks right, you can go ahead and take it, and if it doesn't look the way you want it, then you need to readjust. So what doesn't look right? Okay, so now I changed the Krylophosaurus, the angle of it, so that it would kind of translate better on camera, more like the way I wanted it. On camera, this is actually looking how I wanted it to look. I showed you my perspective, I showed you all my tips. That's literally what I do for pictures. And then, as I showed you, for practical effects or anything like that, you can just use like one of these spray bottles to make it like rain and stuff like that. And the birds are really loud, I'm sorry. And you can use like spray fog and stuff. It's just all about making it. I have this spray bottle here, and I use this if I want to kind of make it look like it's raining. Sometimes I know if I want the scene to look like it's raining, sometimes it just happens in the moment. So now is the time before you get the picture to figure out what settings you want. So if you're using an actual like DSLR or mirrorless camera like me, and then you're gonna go into your settings, and every camera is different, so you should know what settings kind of you want it to. Just mess around with settings if you don't. If you want the picture to look darker or brighter or stuff like that, you can control it all on these cameras. Just even basic stuff. Like your ISO, aperture, stuff like that. On a phone, you can obviously control exposure and stuff on a phone. It's a lot more basic, obviously. So you just want to do all of that before you go and get the shot. I can focus on the subject. So I want to focus on, I'm going to take two pictures. One's going to be focused on the Krylophosaurus, and then the other is going to be focused on the Calavosaurus. So now I've got some pictures, and I look back at them and I see, am I happy with them? I'm kind of not happy with them, so I'm gonna go again. And as I mentioned to you guys earlier, it's all about perspective. Okay, I'm pretty happy with those shots. If you're not completely happy with exposure or anything like that, you can obviously, I always edit my pictures anyways. For me, I use Lightroom, but you can just use anything you want. So I'm just gonna mess around with this for a few more minutes and just try and get the shot I kind of want. Okay, so I kind of have the shots I want with the perspective I want. So they're the ones I'm actually going to be using, and they're the ones I'm actually going to upload. But I'm just going to take a few more with different perspectives, and that's what I was talking about earlier with you guys. So I used to take pictures from kind of an upper angle, kind of like this. And obviously, as you just saw there, now I kind of take them on the ground, because with figures, it makes them look a lot more menacing when they're actually like, when you're on the ground with it, because it makes them look a lot larger than like if you're taking them up like that. So I'm going to take a few with different perspectives just to show you guys how different it can make a shot look. But now I'm just going to show different perspectives just because I just want to emphasize the point that perspective can really change how an image actually turns out. I'm going to do one without a zoom now here, just to show you how different it looks. Okay, so here I have my phone set up. So I'm going to use my back cameras because they make obviously a better picture. And you can just see here, the quality of this
camera on my phone. I think it's okay. I've never actually properly tried it out. I'm gonna try it out and just see what it actually looks like. And as I said, you can just you have to just work with what you got. So if you only have a phone and you really want to get into photography, toy photography, you can use your phone. I will insert the pictures I actually got on my phone. I will actually insert them on screen just so you can see them better, but they actually turned out really decent. The first one was overexposed, but I kind of changed the exposure and they actually turned out a lot better than I thought, you guys. So it just shows you can use your phone for toy photography. It just, like, look, it actually looks really decent. It looks so much better than I thought it would. Obviously your phone camera is going to be important too, so if you do want to use your phone for photography, you're going to have to make sure your camera is decent enough. You can use your phone for photography. You don't need this expensive camera that I have or any expensive camera at all. You can use your phone. It's all about perspective. It's all about how you take the shot. Okay, so that is it for today's video. I'm going to wrap it up out here while I'm out here getting the pictures. So I have the pictures I wanted and I'll insert them on screen. They turned out, as I said, I already said this, but this area doesn't look like anything much at all. But if you get the cool perspective and you get the figures and you just make it work and it can turn out actually cool. In my opinion, I think it looks cool. For toy photography, it's how you make it work. So as I showed, you can use your phone. I showed you guys examples of pictures I took and they looked really good. Even compared to my camera, they looked like really decent. They're definitely you can just use your phone. You don't have to have fancy things. A tripod is important. That's not my actual tripod for my camera, that's just one for my phone. But tripods are important if you want to get depends on what type of shot you're trying to get, as I said. The one I used today, I didn't even use a tripod, as you saw. You can also use digital effects if you want, like transparent images, and you can apply them over. I used to do that a lot, like back last year, and like at the start of last year, like a year ago. I don't do that anymore generally. I generally keep my shots like as real as I can. Sometimes I'll put in a lens flare or something, but for the most part my shots are just the shots themselves. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Please let me know if you did. It's different than what I normally do, but it's something that I do like almost every day, so it kind of felt really appropriate to do this with you guys. So make sure to check out my Instagram, Jurassic_Collector_fish, if you haven't already, and there will be a link, as I said, down below. And I'm so close to 3k subscribers. I'm less than 150 away, so that is incredible. So thank you so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe down below, hit the like on this video as well. It really helps me out, and let me know if you found this video helpful. Just make sure to stay safe, guys. It is a crazy time at the moment, as you're all aware. It's, you know, this whole pandemic is quite scary, so just make sure you stay safe. Don't make any unnecessary journeys outside or anything like that. Stay inside as much as you can, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that you found this helpful and that you found these tips helpful and that you can incorporate them into your photography in the future. See you in the next video, guys. Peace out. Rawr.